Now, back in 2017, the NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick filed a grievance with the NFL for keeping him out of the league after he started a kneeling campaign, which was a symbol of solidarity over the treatment of black people in America. And then in February of last year, he settled with the NFL for an undisclosed amount of money. Well, he hasn't played in 4 years, but the head of the NFL, Roger Goodell, now says he'd welcome the exiled 32-year-old back into the league in any capacity, including as a player. Well, let's get more on that in the rest of the day's sports news and speak to our sports editor, Simon Harding. Simon, let's start by talking about that Colin Kaepernick story. What's the latest you've got for us?
Hi, Tom. Well, echoing exactly what you said, Colin Kaepernick is being given another lifeline by the NFL and the NFL Commissioner, Roger Goodell. But what this is more significant in is just the NFL actually continuing systematic U-turns on their policies, internal policies that they've had for the last 4 years. Now, as you mentioned, in 2016, Colin Kaepernick was the first player to take a knee during the national anthem, which was criticized at the time by President Donald Trump, who was a candidate for the presidential election. But as the protests continued, of course, more opposition grew to it. The NFL actually introduced a rule in May 2018 saying that it would fine players who took a knee during the anthem, and that was reversed 3 weeks later after many were very unhappy. And this is, of course, all on the back of the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis and everything that has happened with the Black Lives Matter since. Colin Kaepernick has been a very vocal supporter of this. He's not being the only one. Megan Rapinoe, who followed him in taking a knee in 2016, obviously the football women's US team World Cup winner. The US soccer then introduced a ban in 2016 on anyone taking a knee during the anthem. They've also reversed the decision. The NFL simply said they were wrong to stop players from protesting, and they've actually pledged $250 million over the next 10 years to fight systematic racism in the sport. So it's a big change of direction and horizon for the NFL. And of course, they have to reconcile with the main person who brought this to the attention of the sport, and that is, of course, Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, massive about turn from the NFL there. Now, yesterday, Simon, we were talking about football and saying that the season looks like it could be coming to a close in Germany. And I'm just wondering whether Bayern Munich might actually be on the verge of an 8th league title at this point.
It seems very much like it's heading that way. Tom, Bayern Munich have been absolutely in superb form since they came back from the lockdown when the Bundesliga returned a month ago. It was the first major World Football League to get back to action. They play Werder Bremen at 8:30 p.m. the kickoff Paris time. Werder Bremen, who are in the relegation zone, so it's not looking like the 18th, 17th in the league is going to be able to do much to stop what has been the Bavarian goal-scoring machine, including Robert Lewandowski, who's been absolutely fantastic since Bayern Munich were back in action. They lead Borussia Dortmund so far by 7 points, and there's only 3 games remaining, including today's match. So if Bayern win that one, then they will win their 8th consecutive league title, which just goes to show how dominating they've been in German and indeed in European football over the past decade. And just one final word on football, Tom. The Premier League also returns tomorrow, so that'll be something to keep our eyes on.
Yeah, I mean, it really does look like we're going to have a lot of football catching up to do during the course of these summer months. Thank you very much indeed, our sports editor, Simon Harding, there.